Okay, this is the story of Abigail by Denise Castillo, Jose Castro, Leslie Hinojosa, Aba Kajay, and Alyssa Tapia. Case Vignette. Abigail is a 7-year-old Caucasian female with a history of impulsive and aggressive behaviors. She lives at home with only her mother and has never had a relationship with her father. Abigail's mother is an older woman who reports to have 3 other children who are all now adults. Thus, Abigail has siblings but is not close to them. Upon meeting Abigail and her mother, it is very apparent that they have an unhealthy relationship because Abigail calls her mom bad names and threatens to hurt her if they do not leave your office now. As Abigail's mother continues to provide you with some history, Abigail begins to punch her mom in the arm and screams that she wants to leave now. Her mother explains to you that this is typical behavior and to just ignore it. When you inquire about Abigail's behavior at school, her mother reports that she is making all A's and that her teachers only report incidents of angry outbursts on occasion. Her teachers also report that Abigail struggles to relate to her peers and that she can be easily upset if, for example, she gets an answer wrong on a test. Abigail's mother reports to you that as she grows, Abigail is becoming a lot stronger and she worries about not being able to calm her down when upset. Just last week, Abigail threatened her mother with a knife. Thus, her mother is beginning to lose sleep out of fear that Abigail might act out on her anger and either hurt herself or someone else. Case conceptualization and presenting issues. Abigail is presenting with overt, aggressive, impulsive, and harmful behaviors toward others. At home, the family consists primarily of Abigail and her mother, older in age, which indicates a small support system. At school, a strength for Abigail is that she maintains high scores and only has minor angry outbursts, for example, when getting wrong answers. At school, another strength is that Abigail does not physically or verbally abuse other adults, for example, her teacher. At school, a maladaptive behavior is that Abigail does not socialize or relate to her peers. Abigail's father is not present, and the 3 adult siblings live outside of the home, none of which are known to possess these behaviors. Exhibited overt and hostile aggression, hitting, and name-calling toward mother can indicate an insecure attachment to mother. Mother demonstrated tolerance or indifference in response to Abigail's behavior, may require filial therapy. Mother expressed concerns abusive behavior may escalate to more severe harming or self-harming. Abigail will be treated through play therapy and expressive arts techniques. Therapists will monitor characteristic behaviors of potential DSM disorders. The outcome of play therapy treatment is judged to be good given her behavior toward other adults. Based on Abigail's age under Erickson's psychosocial stages, she would be in the industry versus inferiority stage, where she must learn skills of the culture and face feelings of incompetence. She must learn to be productive and to accept evaluation of her efforts or become discouraged and feel inferior or incompetent. Developmental tasks in this stage in the cognitive area are egocentrism diminishes. Therefore, she must learn to give or take, accept others who are culturally different. Logical and concrete thinking are developed, so she must learn to tolerate ambiguity. Increase memory and language skills. She's learning communication skills, how to read, write, and calculate. Cognitive gains permit child to benefit from formal schooling, so expanding knowledge and understanding of physical and social worlds. May show educational needs or strengths at this stage. Psychosocial development, self-concept becomes more complex, affecting self-esteem. Co-regulation reflects gradual shift in control from parents to child. Peers assume central importance, so engaging in social activities. The client, Abigail, coped or struggled with the following tasks. Interpersonally, Abigail struggles to get along with peers by avoiding associating and playing with them. Because Abigail has not learned to navigate her social world, this can be attributed to not having a father or older siblings in the home. This indicates she may have a negative self-concept and feelings of inferiority in establishing social relationships. Behaviorally, Abigail manages and controls emotional behavior at school, indicating she has developed some co-regulation. However, her hostile and overt behavior towards her mother can be attributed to her mother's indifference and can indicate a possible insecure attachment. Cognitively, Abigail demonstrates strengths and benefits of education. She has high grades. However, her egocentrism has only diminished slightly.
So as previously mentioned with the case conceptualization, the DSM-5-TR diagnosis, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, and this is the 5th edition with the text revision, is oppositional defiant disorder and conduct disorder for Abigail, based on her issues and problems that were previously mentioned. And these two disorders are under the chapter of disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders, which involves problems in self-control of emotions and behaviors that violate the rights of others, such as aggression, destruction of property, and or that bring the individual into significant conflict with societal norms or authority figures, such as her mom. And then it first onsets in childhood or adolescence, and it's often rare in adulthood. Frequent comorbidity, where it's the same, both of the diagnoses can be linked together at the same time, is with substance abuse disorders and antisocial personality disorders. And here on the right, the images, you'll see some of the concepts of conduct disorder, living in poverty, aggressive conduct, social problems, violation of rules, parental rejection or neglect, legal problems, school failure, destructive conduct, and traumatic event. And then there's an image of oppositional defiant order and what that looks like. And so looking at the DSM-5-TR diagnosis and its criteria, I'll go over what criteria fits Abigail's case and what does not. And so first and foremost, Abigail's case is severe. So some symptoms are present in 3 or more settings. And we see that with her mom at home and in general. And then we see that in session with the therapist. And then we also see that at school with the teachers reporting that she has occasional outbursts, and even when she gets answers wrong on a test. So that's already 3 settings. So that counts as severe for oppositional defiant disorder. Also, oppositional defiant disorder often precedes conduct disorder, although this appears to be most common in children with the childhood onset subtype, which I'll go over in the next slide. Individuals with oppositional defiant disorder are also at increased risk for suicide attempts, anxiety disorders, and major depressive disorder. So going over the criteria that fits Abigail, first, a pattern of angry, irritable mood, argumentative, defiant behavior, or vindictiveness lasting at least 6 months, as evidenced by at least 4 of the symptoms below, during interaction with at least one individual who is not the sibling. And this is what we see with Abigail, with her teachers making reports, and with the session with the therapist, as well as the mom. So first, angry/irritable mood. 1, often loses temper. 2, is often touchy or easily annoyed. 3, is often angry and resentful. So we definitely see this with her behavior, especially towards her mom. Next, argumentative/defiant behavior. 4, often argues with authority figures, or for children and adolescents with adults, so her mom especially. 5, often actively defies or refuses to comply with requests from authority figures or with rules. So we see this whenever she wants to leave the session, and when she doesn't get her way, she begins to yell and punch her mom on the arm. Number 6, often deliberately annoys others. And we see that the mom responds by saying, just ignore this, this is typical behavior. So there must be underlying annoyance already established for the mother. Next, vindictiveness. Number 8, has been spiteful or vindictive at least twice within the past 6 months. And we see her being spiteful when she name calls her mother in session, calls her bad names, and threatens her. Note, the persistence and frequency of these behaviors should be used to distinguish a behavior that is within normal limits from a behavior that is symptomatic. For children younger than 5 years old, note that Abigail is 7 years old. The behavior should occur on most days for a period of at least 6 months unless otherwise noted. And for individuals 5 years or older, that will be Abigail. The behavior should occur at least once per week for at least 6 months, which is what we've seen. And that allows for us to rule out other disorders that are noted in the DSM-5. And number B, letter B, the disturbance in behavior is associated with distress in the individual or others in his or her immediate social context, peers, family, work colleagues, and it impacts negatively on social, educational, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. So we see this when the mom reports that she has a difficult time relating to her peers. And C, the behaviors do not occur exclusively during the course of a psychotic, substance abuse, depressive, or bipolar disorder. Also, the criteria are not met for disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, and we see that. The criteria that does not fit of oppositional defiant disorder for Abigail is the argumentative defiant behavior, which is number 7, often blames others for his or her mistakes or misbehavior. So that wasn't noted by the mother, although it might very well be happening. Okay, next slide, please. So next is the conduct disorder, which we also see for Abigail. And her specific diagnosis within the conduct disorder is the childhood onset type, which is the individual shows at least one symptom or characteristic of conduct disorder prior to age 10, and with limited pro-social emotions. So this is displayed at least 2 of the following characteristics persistently over at least 12 months and in multiple relationships and settings. So the lack of remorse or guilt and callous lack of empathy, which is 2 things that were not reported during session. And then the other 2 of that criteria we are ruling out, which is unconcerned about performance and shallow or a deficient affect, which we see she has all A's in school, so she is doing well at school, although she does get frustrated when she does not do well. So her case of conduct disorder is severe because there's considerable harm to others, for example, physical cruelty, and use of a weapon. So we see this when she punches her mom on the arm, and we also see this when she threatens her mom with a knife about a week ago from the session. Conduct disorder is at risk for later mood disorders, anxiety disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, impulse control disorders, psychotic disorders, somatic symptom disorders, and substance-related disorders as adults. So relevant and criteria that fits Abigail is the aggression to people and animals. And we see this in at least 3 of the following criteria for the past 12 months and at least 1 criteria present in the past 6 months. Okay, so aggression to people and animals. 1, often bullies, threatens, or intimidates others. 2, often initiates physical fights. 3, has used a weapon that can cause serious physical harm to others. A bat, brick, broken bottle, knife, gun. And then number 4, has been physically cruel to people. So we mostly see this with her relationship to her mother. With limited pro-social emotions, as mentioned, the lack of remorse or guilt, callous lack of empathy. Letter B, the disturbance in behavior causes clinically significant impairment in social, academic, or occupational functioning. And Once again, her social connection to her peers is lacking. So that may be due to this conduct disorder. And all the relevant criteria that does not fit of conduct disorder is her aggression to people and animals. That was not reported. So she has not been physically cruel to animals, has not stolen while confronting a victim, has never forced someone into sexual activity that was reported. There has not been destruction of property or deceitfulness or theft. And letter C, if the individual is age 18 or older, criteria are not met for antisocial personality disorder. And so we didn't note that because she's 7. Next slide.
Next, we have the crisis response and treatment planning section of the PowerPoint. So we're going to start off by identifying and describing the crisis situation. The crisis situation that was identified for this case was the violence against others, since Abigail did threaten her mother with a knife. Other possible crisis situations that could occur could be Abigail getting angry at school and hurting her peers, teachers, staff. Although this has not been previously reported and there haven't been any instances of this activity, it could still be a potential crisis situation, seeing as how she's getting older and the mother states that she's getting a little bit more aggressive. Abigail severely injuring her mother/other family members, and then Abigail self-harming. So just getting out of hand with herself, and even if she's not meaning to harm herself, in the process of harming somebody else, she could potentially hurt herself as well. And then for describing the crisis situation, typically Abigail's mother disregards her child's aggressive and impulsive behavior. However, the mother has stated that as Abigail gets older and much stronger, she worries that she can no longer ease her into calming down. And Abigail has gone from verbal abuse, so calling her mother bad names and verbally threatening to hurt her, to physical abuse, from which we saw in the case where she did start punching her mother when they did not leave the office. So in this crisis situation, it can be only assumed that Abigail was made mad, perhaps by her mother, or she did not get her way on something. So she chose to threaten her mother with a knife. And since she had threatened her mother before, when she verbally said that she wanted to hurt her mother, we can only assume that her threatening her with a knife will be something that she decides to go with next time she gets upset and angry with her mom. So overall, she can critically injure her mother. And then we have responding to the crisis situation. So this is Abigail's under immediate risk or danger because she was violent towards another. So this indicates that an intervention plan should be established as soon as possible. Responding immediately to Abigail threatening her mother with a knife allows Abigail to realize that her behavior is incorrect and violence is not how to solve problems. And a study done by Connor, if a child is violent or dangerous to others, taking the child to a nearby hospital to be evaluated by a qualified mental health professional is a crucial first step to sort of start diminishing that behavior. Following the evaluation as an LPC, I would recommend the benefits and influence that child-centered therapy has and the creative treatment interventions that can correspond with this therapy. Just to name a few, getting to play with a choice of toys to communicate, ranging from the different categories of toys: aggressive, real life, expressive arts, to animal and the environment activity that will be demonstrated later in this PowerPoint. And then I also mentioned the sand tray activity. Seeing as how Abigail's mother is specifically the individual that Abigail tends to act out towards through hitting, threatening, and verbally attacking, I think having the mother in the playroom could be beneficial. I think once Abigail has been able to explore the playroom and feel more comfortable in sessions, incorporating both Abigail and her mom in sessions together could be beneficial for the both of them. And there was a study that described moreover, children who are acting aggressively are often experiencing a lack of connection with important adults in their lives. That is, they are feeling a mini abandonment. We cannot make interpretations about this right away prior to having sessions with Abigail. But I think using child-centered play therapy and the activities that are incorporated in this type of therapy could help in leading to findings on how Abigail is feeling, and especially towards her mother.
So as a responsive intervention that we would use, as mentioned previously, the creative treatment that we would utilize with the client would be the animal in the environment expressive arts during the first or second visit. So that way we will be able to have a better understanding of the feelings that Abigail has through that activity. We would be able to see any connection she makes about the animal to herself. Right now, we are going to demonstrate in that intervention, the animal and the environment. My peer, Jose, is going to do the therapist role, and I will be using what Abigail described in the session. So we're going to be doing the play scenario between the client and the counselor.
Hello, Abigail. I would like for you to do something for me.
Okay.
We are going to make a drawing of an animal that does not currently exist. What do you think?
It's fine, I guess.
Imagine a way into the future. It's the year 4087, and nothing is the same as it is now. People, animals, plants, etc. So create an animal and its environment that it would survive then. Observe what client is creating, where is her energy going, how is she starting her animal. When Abigail says she is done, then I will ask her the following questions.
Okay, so this is the drawing that Abigail got done. So now Jose will continue his.
So Abigail, tell me about your creature.
It's an angry bird.
Who takes care of your creature?
It takes care of itself.
Does it get along with other animals?
No,
How does it eat?
with the beak.
Does it play or have friends?
No,
What are its strengths?
she's strong.
What does it like to do?
Go to class.
What are its weaknesses?
She doesn't have any friends.
How does it get around?
By running.
What kind of things does it like to do?
Schoolwork and flying as well.
What does it wish it could do?
Be smarter at school, not get B's or C's.
What does it wish it didn't have to do?
Listen to her mom.
What does it need?
To be left alone.
Tell me about the environment.
It's a dark place with only animals that could see in the dark. So thank you, Jose. After asking her these questions, the therapist would ask her to reflect her feelings by asking her to talk about the creature. So with these questions is when the counselor is trying to see or interpret what the client is trying, what Abigail in this case is, how is she feeling? What is she trying to tell us? Abigail will more likely make connections and will talk about how she really feels, possibly by mirroring her feelings. So like she was talking that the bird was angry. So this is what she's talking of herself. So as we listen to the answers Abigail responded, we can tell that there is some type of anger and loneliness that it's going on in her mind, because this activity allows us to see what is truly happening without them really telling us, well, I'm alone, I don't have friends, I feel trapped, or I feel in a dark place. It's without asking for help. They're asking for help, pretending that this animal is the one that it's doing it. Because most of the times we will mirror what we feel to the drawing.
Thank you so much, Denise. And so next, we have two questions. What can the family, school, or community do to assist in this crisis situation or treatment? And how would you work with these other members of the system? So we came up with a concept called a treatment team meeting, um, also known as a TTM. Um, which is an opportunity for multidisciplinary team supporting the child, family to come together to identify needs, to brainstorm ideas, how to overcome barriers, and to create a plan how to move forward in supporting the child and family. Um, Walls and blur say within clinical mental health settings, collaboration among professional counselors and helping professionals from other disciplines is often necessary. They further add that lack of collaboration can conjure a spirit of competition and context within which within strengths of the various disciplines are not being maximized through intentional efforts to work together to provide the best client care and solutions. Furthermore, in the case of Abigail, members of the treatment team meeting can include Abigail, Abigail's mother, perhaps a caseworker, school principal or assistant principal, a counselor, and any other formal supports that interact with Abigail. Members of the treatment team meeting can meet periodically and discuss and share information, which in totality could prove to be effective in formulating an action plan for change. Also, having multiple sources of information for Abigail can assist members with conceptualizing the ongoing behavior issue. And on a just a little bit of a personal experience myself, I have been part of treatment team meetings, and they prove very effective because you're interacting with several individuals who have a certain task to do, and they might have certain information that you don't know that could be relevant for you. So collaboration and communication amongst the disciplines can prove effective uh, for the outcome for the child. So communication is key. And just like how it said in under Walls and Blur, um, it talks about strengths of the various disciplines are not being maximized through intentional efforts. So when different disciplines are together, the outcome is a lot stronger for the child. So this concludes our presentation. And thank you very much for your undivided attention. And these are our references.